All right, we're live. We're back. We back. We've been off for what, a week or two?
A
Yeah.
week and a half.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, about a week and a half.
gonna blame Kazim.
I take the rap for it.
All right.
I had to quarantine real quick.
I bet.
That's not a true story. That's all cap. Just let everyone know.
Oh man, yo,
But I had to come represent, man. I hope you guys understand the meaning behind this.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
We'll get into it.
You're from Fall River.
I reside here.
Yeah, now, okay. Fellas, we are here. We live. It is Monday night. As of right now, Joe Biden, aka Sleepy Joe, will be the president of the United States with Kamala Harris as the vice president of the United States. First black woman. I ain't getting into all that Indian, Asian, whatever. First black woman. This ain't no Tiger Woods situation. You know what I'm saying? So, how y'all feel?
Happy, man. Like, you know what they said? Like, everybody's been saying, like, your vote counts. And I think with all the historic numbers that we've been seeing this year, that just, like, goes to show how truthful that statement is. And, like, the LeBron Jameses of the worlds, like the Patrick Mahomes, just like some of our entertainers, our athletes, doing their part to set up things to like make polling places like available for people to vote, putting information out there so people know how to vote or how to register to vote or like the different options they have. I think that collective effort helped, like, do we did this for this election.
Z.
Not for nothing.
Tongue load
Not for
form.
nothing, I think. What?
I said, I know you got a tongue load form.
Yo, listen. It's a situation where I just feel just scored a 4-point basket and won Steph Curry corner shot to win the championship. And with the and one and the referee blowing and you hear Mike Green bang, bang, like that type of historic moment. And it's just one for the good guys. At the end of the day, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, everyone knows the political aspect and the policies in regards to both of these candidates. But I just seen historically everybody coming out, regardless of thoughts on it. The other 71 million, but this guy got 75 million, winning in a popular vote, took over 2 red states, Arizona and Georgia. So it just shows all the groundwork. And I agree with Dot in the sense of, I just don't want to give celebrities all the credit. I want to give like the people that's in the trenches and the marches and, really bringing light to what's going on, voter suppression and all the volunteers. It was just dope to see, man. And honestly, I'm happy that, things just seem normal. And it's unfortunately all this is happening in the midst of a pandemic, but I thought it was really, and to me, I'm loving all the reaction. So the reaction of the winners and then the reactions of, the Trump supporters who he was able to start this narrative about 3-4 months ago about mail-in voting, something that backfired on him because he told his people not to do it. And Biden and Harris was promoting it. And I think he's seen early leads because they was doing the people that showed up today. And shout out to them, regardless of what you want to say. MAGA shows out, they support, it's like a cult. I'm not going to say brainwash, but they're in the trance of what everything that Trump did. And they came out full force and he was ahead and it wasn't looking good. But then when they got to the mail-in ballots, I think that's where Joe Biden and Harris team did a good job of promoting that. And especially during COVID, it's just a responsible thing. So
That scared me. That scared me. I remember I fell asleep. I was trying to watch it, but I was just like, this is just too long and it's not an update yet. Like, and I ended up falling asleep and I woke up middle of the night and I'd seen like Josh's text. He was like, damn, Trump won. And then I'd seen Zeem's text that said Trump won. and like I saw like you put like the Bovada, like whatever the odds were, and I'm like scrambling around, like looking at everything, like damn, how do you win? And I just felt like a little turn in my stomach, and I was like, damn, he's really gonna win. Like how did this happen? But it was like good to kind of see like that's the complete opposite of what happened.
Yeah, it was an exciting week. When me and Zim was up late on Tuesday and it just looked bad. It looked bleak. The reason why it looked bleak is because like I think that we're used to a traditional map. What I mean by traditional map is whoever wins Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Florida, like those are three states that usually will determine the election. So we went ahead and it looked like, Biden definitely lost Ohio. Definitely, he got blown out in Florida. And Philly was trending the wrong way. So I'm like, damn, so waking up and
he lost Texas too.
Yeah, Texas, yeah. So waking up and seeing that he was inching closer in Georgia, which I'm not gonna lie, I never expected to ever go blue. The last time it went blue was the 92 election when Ross Perot and George H.W. Bush split the vote for like that whole conservative red group of people, and Clinton was able to take it. Nevada, Arizona, like these places never go blue. And the Democrats obviously strategized, planned, and did a great job of, turning out their vote. And the thing that I really liked about what they did in Pennsylvania and Georgia is that they didn't say, hey, Trump's a bad guy. We're going to try to turn some of these red voters blue. I'm sure some normal Republicans, voted blue and vice versa. However, the fact that Stacey Abrams, a Black woman from Georgia, she saw how the Republicans gerrymander, redistrict, and strip people of their right to vote in 2018 when she lost the governor's race. So she said, all right. So she took a step back and said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mobilize a whole new generation of people. And she registered 800,000 new voters and turned Georgia blue.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I was happy the media was showing her love too and giving her credit, and showing that she could have sulked after losing that, something that she hasn't conceded yet as well, i.e. Trump. So, it does happen in history, but she got out there and says, no, it could be a difference, and made a difference. And I love the fact that they've been champagning her these last couple of days, man. But I'll say this, that mail-in, like in Dot, you was right. It was looking grim for us that Tuesday night because they had Michigan, Wisconsin, all red. They had Pennsylvania red. And you know who kept me calm during that whole time?
Say his name.
John King.
Yes.
He kept me calm, Dot. He kept saying, listen, there's a lot of votes still left to be counted. Hey, America, he's up right now. There's a lot. And how he said it like he knew something, but couldn't say it. You know what I mean? And he's the one that kept like, nah, just wait, relax. Nope, a lot of mail-in, usually Democrats. This is what Biden did. They're doing the people that came and showed up. That's why regardless of, you got to give Trump, he brings them out. You know what I'm saying? He's polarizing. He brings them out. Good, bad, all the evil tactics and traits that he has. There's people out there, which to me, sometimes I take a back to it. Like, how can there be so many people who support, like, you don't have to agree nothing what Biden does, but just like a character standpoint, which I didn't understand. And we do have to talk about, how the Latinos came out for him, and, even Longoria up there baffling that statistic. Like, it's just, I don't know. I want to get into some things, man. And we can get into
all right. So we can start getting into it. The one thing that's really bothering me, and we've been in the group chat talking about it. You see me on social media, I've been heated. Like, all these people talking about a tax plan and Trump's and Biden's gonna tax me. And like, bro, like, you don't have the money to worry about that.
Right.
Like your money's not long enough to even warrant a thought about Biden raising your taxes. And lastly, I've spoken personally to two people who are well above the 400,000 tax bracket, well above it, well above it. Both voted for Biden, and both said that they did it because they felt Trump's a racist, and they felt that it was their duty as people who have been blessed so much, with able to live a great life because of the finances that they have, that they felt that, that Biden's policies provided a safety net for people who don't have, and so and those are kind of people, man, that, they vote against their own best self-interest. And it's interesting to talk to them because Trump's tax plan would have saved them way more money, and Biden's going to tax them more money. So obviously it's bigger than money.
Like when 50 Cent brought it up, yeah, bad time or whatever, but he was dead ass serious. Like he was really concerned about that. And I thought it was bad timing, but that just goes to show, like, social media, it's all about memes and, oh, this is gonna touch me. And like, listen, if you do have the opportunity, you're blessed. You know what I mean? Count your blessings. But I'm all about just character and the person, humanity, human being, and what they was promoting. And like I said, the last 4 years, like, it's always been there. You know what I'm saying? Racism always been there. Racist always. But for the last 4 years, they was outwardly blatant with it. The Karens emerge out of anywhere. And it seems like as soon as you put a camera in front of them, they get even more excited, like more of their character comes out. And I thought we've seen a lot of that 2020 in these last 4 years.
No, I agree, and it's just like, and I feel like yes, you're gonna get taxed more, but if you are making that kind of money, or you obviously doing something right, that whether it's business or whatever the case may be, that you're able to attain that kind of wealth, you're always gonna figure out a way around it to the point where it's gonna somewhere or somehow it's gonna offset it. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, like I told you guys this morning, like I was listening to the radio and I heard the Jeezy interview, and it's just like, all about integrity, of like money's like, your go-to as to why you're gonna vote for this guy. Like that says a lot, you know what I'm saying? He's blatantly saying, like, racist things about, like, Hispanics, like, Mexicans, black people, Muslims, like, gays, the list goes on. And it's just like, all right, because you're rich and you feel as though he's gonna save you a certain amount of money, that's okay. Like, at what point do you, like, care about your actual self? You know what I'm saying? So that was a big thing. But I also think for the people did who did vote for Trump, or were like kind of more so pushing for Trump, saying there was this whole narrative, he's real, I respect him because he's real. That's like, hate is never gonna be real. That should never be defined as, like, a quality or a trait of someone being real. What I think the truth behind all that, once people start talking about, like, Black Lives Matter and, like, stuff about, like, police brutality, I don't think a lot of people like
On the
to hear that.
police.
So I think the way, instead of coming out and just saying, like, I don't like this whole Black Lives Matter movement, I'm not with it, you start to pick at other things that don't make much sense. That's just what I personally think is going on.
I agree with that. And I look at it as, it's a situation where I'm to the mindset, like, all right, everybody's not aligned with this guy's thought process and views on other ethnicities and races and, their preference and sexual orientation. But I agree that it's a masquerade of, no, we don't want to defund the police. No, yes, that was unfortunate that happened to George Floyd, but he wasn't an upstanding citizen to begin with. Like, it's like those little nuances that I feel that they use, and knowing that this guy, he agrees with all these 8 to 10 different reasons of just hate and negativity, and he aligns to it, and that's what they call real and authentic and not a real politician. And I felt like that's how the world viewed us, not a real country. Laughing stocks, you know what I mean? The whole Russian thing with the Iran, the Israel situation, China, the misstep. Like, there's a lot of things that people don't focus on. But just imagine if this vaccine's whole 90% thing, this news came out last week, I think Trump would have remained the president. He did so terribly with this whole COVID thing, where I felt that that's what really put the nail in the coffin of how he handled that. And all the super spreader events he had, people in his cabinet was having it, and all this stuff like that. I think that's where he really lost the American people to shift everything. Because whether you guys like to believe it or not, there's a lot of people out there that believe what Trump believes.
Mm-hmm.
So
No, I agree.
Like
I
we
agree.
have to, whether we like to believe it or not, and regardless, they view us, differently and progressive and socialists and the far left, that they view us in a negative way as well. It's always going to be that. I don't
And
know
I
if you
think
guys understand my theory with that.
no, I agree. I think sometimes like Trump supporters, like I won't even say Republicans. I'll say more. So I'll keep it like a Trump supporters. It just sometimes could be like so tone deaf. Like, uh, was his son Eric Trump like tweeted today like we lost the election and 70 million people. There's no burnt down cities. But someone replied to him like, yeah, like an innocent. It was just an election, not innocent people being murdered. So he don't understand as to why like there's a difference between that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just very difficult to.
The
And,
fact the fact that he said that after he was tweeting during that same time about look at these looters, these rioters, look how they tearing up, lock them all up. And now you're saying over an election, where's the Trump supporters at? Why they not running the streets? Like, that's the president's son gaslighting that. Like, to me, that's crazy.
Well, I mean, you got to understand, like I'll come back to a few things, and we're gonna go there tonight. So basically, Trump and his family, I look at them as mediocre. Even though Trump is successful, I feel like all of his successes was set up by being able to just get that, get that money, that cosign from his dad. You know what I'm saying? And that.
I'm not here to defend Trump, but I got to give him
Hold on. Listen what I'm gonna say to you, right? So people will just assume that he's smart, he's a good businessman, he knows what he's doing, when in fact, if you read what people say about his campaign, about his cabinet, about how they ran the White House, about how they handled the pen, about how they handled basically almost everything, it was subpar. So like Trump, his son, his daughter feel that their whiteness just entitles them to the White House. Like they can be mediocre, they can be average, right? So Trump basically became a presidential candidate questioning Barack Obama the whole way.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't think that's a good point. I don't think he even expected to win. It just got to a certain point, like he's entertaining. It just got to a certain, I don't think he's like his calling was to ever be a politician or to like study policy and know how to lead. And he's good at what he's good at, like a businessman or like entertaining, stuff like that. I just think that it got to a certain point where it's like, I could really do this. And then it just kind of spiraled out of control, where like he was getting like this big following of people to just like hang on every word he says. It was just like, I feel like I always say it all the time, if the dude would have just let go of like some of like the crazy things he was saying, he would have been the most loved president. He could have had the world in the palm of his hands if he just if he just took the hate out of him. Like, you know what I'm saying?
He's not subtle with his hate, what you're trying to
say. Yeah.
Like he got no chill. So we were starting to talk about how so I don't want to, we hate when they do this to us, so we're not going to do it to them. A lot of Cubans and Venezuelans voted for Trump in the 2020 election. So what do you got? Like, what is that about? What do you guys think?
I'll say I just think a lot of people. So and this is all assumption. Like none of us are Hispanic, Latino, so it's all what we see. I think a lot of people, like what was going on in Cuba for so many years, like the kind of like, government they were used to. And then you kind of get to America, and if you're not from America, you're always told like this is the land of opportunity, like the land of the free. Like you can come here, you can be great. Like you're gonna be this, you're gonna be that. Just go out, like the white man's theory, like go at work as hard as you can, do everything the right, be on time, look, things will happen for you. I think they fall in love with that whole idea of it, that they're willing to say, all right, now that we're here, we're gonna do whatever to stay in the good graces. So that's personally just what I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I honestly just feel their vantage point and what they view is that they got to the point where they're superior than the African race. So the mindset of they feeling like, we're more culturally together, we're more traditional, where, at the end of the day, the skin tone quality in the sense of we're closer to more identifying with this pigment of skin than with this pigment of skin, darker shade, and how they behave and how they depict us. And not for nothing, these Cuban Americans, like let's just for an example, we're going to use Florida. They had numbers out in Miami about the over 72% of the Cuban Latinos voted for Trump. So I just feel like that almost nailed it on the head of they came from such tumultuous times that they come here and see what is supposed to be right, and white is right, and they tend to vote that way and see that the Republican is more of that polished look that they envision and they was taught to be, if that makes sense.
Nah, it does. So yeah, I definitely think that the reason why they voted for Trump so heavily, like you guys say, just another way of saying is that proximity to whiteness, like they feel like they're almost white.
Yeah, no, I agree, because like growing up in,
that's me just keeping it real from a
distance. I agree, and I you know what I'm saying, like I agree. Growing up in New York, I remember where I lived, it was like you could literally draw a line from where like Washington Heights was versus kind of where I lived, and it was like on the right side it was like all Dominican. On the left side, it's all black people. You know what I'm saying? So when you would go, it was just like always like this notion, like the same thing white people of us, like black people are criminals, they're lazy, they don't work hard, like they're to be feared, like these guys are just the worst, black people are the worst set of people out there. And then when you come here and you've been hearing that, that's kind of like the mindset. And I remember a few months ago, I was reffing Jefferson Boulevard. And in New York, you always be able to tell for the most part that I'm a black guy. In Rhode Island, if I don't talk, you're either going to think sometimes Cape Verdean, or sometimes you may go as far as to say Dominican. And I remember reffing this Dominican team, and the guy must have thought I was Dominican because he had gotten into an argument with like a black guy on the opposite team. And he says to me, like, he says, yo, like, man, I can't stand black guys, man. They just always want to fight. Like, this is just feel like they could talk to people any way they want. And then I got so upset with the dude, but it was just like, you know what I'm saying? Like that he even thought, but he only said that because he must have thought like, so I just think it's just like, I don't know, like white is right. And I think that they view themselves closer sometimes to the white culture than they do to like, and we see the memes, like we'll see like a Pedro Martinez looking dude, dark as ever, the Jerry curl, but he say he's not black. You know what I'm saying? So it's just
no black.
Yo, not for nothing, to keep it real. Look what Sammy Sosa did.
Yeah, he bleached his skin.
You know what I mean? Like he's trying to get closer to that. Yo, keep it a buck. That happens. That's like a thing in the Nigerian culture too, about Nigerian women using this cream that almost slowly bleaches your skin. And it's a thing, like, because they're trying to obviously be a lesser shade. You know what I'm saying? And the innuendos and undertones in regards to those decisions. So it's a thing.
I think things are changing. I think things are changing. I think it's got to be like a generational thing that gets broken. Because I remember, like, I know a lot of our a lot of like, parents from our era growing up, like would tell their kids like, black people are this way. Don't date black. You better never bring no black boy or girl home. You know what I'm saying? Like we see in the movies, like, A Bronx Tale, like it goes on and on. There's this really famous, I remember watching an English class, I forget the name. It's this really famous, like, opera about, it's like a dance.
Othello.
Yeah, that. Or what's the Spike Lee movie when Wesley, so you see
Jungle Fever.
movies
Yep.
all the time, and that stuff resonates with you, you know what I'm saying? And then you start to build these theories, but I think it's now that we're like in a different era, it's like starting to shift a little bit. I don't know. We'll see.
Nah, I see what you mean. Just to bring it back to, to what happened in Florida. Basically, I was speaking to somebody about this. I don't want to put them out there who they are, but basically they were saying that Cubans came over in a different manner than a lot of the other Latinx people, immigrate to the United States. Basically, they got ran, like the white Cubans got ran out of Cuba by Castro. Like all the rich white Cubans got ran out of Cuba by Castro by force. And what happened was, they came to the United States with money. Whereas, a lot of people who do immigrate to the United States are trying to, leave for like, a better opportunity, a better life to get away from where they are, where they were like forced out, but they were up. They had a lot of money. So they don't see themselves like the other Latinx immigrants. They see themselves as like above. And I'm sure they see themselves above Black people and, and the like. So that was an eye-opening thing. I know that they.
Yeah, but
Yep.
But even so, I looked at the other numbers as well. Donald Trump lost 20% of white men. He lost in the battle of separation. 20% of white suburban women voted for Joe Biden. So that whole Woman for Trump campaign really kind of backfired on him of some of the allegations and things that's been going on over the last 5 years that he's been in this political realm. And so I look at things like that, you know what I mean? But numbers, Joe Biden pulled in good numbers. Trump, it's crazy. You know what? One thing I noticed too, and I don't know why, like CNN, they're kind of funny when they do this. They're trying to be petty, but it'd be like, 80% of white women uneducated, no high school or no college degree, voted for Donald Trump. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're trying to quote unquote underline sneak this, like, if you're uneducated and you have no college degree, which it's a stat, like they come out with that type of stuff if you went to college or not, say, voted for Donald Trump, aka you must not be intelligent. And then you see stuff on the Daily Show when they're that guy that goes to the Trump rally and answers those questions. So it's just like, they're trying to sneak this heavy. And you already know SNL, they stay killing Trump.
Yeah, man. Trump is like, he's the royal Beyonce, man. They love him, bro. They love him like how we love Beyonce. It's wild. So, I want to wrap this conversation up and move us into a different topic. Do you guys have anything else? Just, from the 2020 election, man. Like it feels like it was so long ago last week.
My biggest thing was. My fault, Doc.
No, go ahead, Z. Go ahead.
No, I just said my biggest thing was, the anticipation waiting 3 to 4 days. That was kind of different of how this whole process goes. But like I said, substantial numbers, historical numbers, flipping 2 states that usually red to blue. A lot of things happen, man. A lot of things happen. And one thing I did like was the Saturday afternoon celebration of every city that you've seen across America. And it was dope to see Black, white, brown, Asian, Muslim, gay, straight, all coming together in the street. It was positive, you know what I mean? And I'm just curious to see if Trump, Trump followers are ride or dies. Are they gonna march the streets or they have 9 to 5s? I don't know. I'm curious to see.
Yeah, I just feel like I feel like a lot of, man, it's just tough sometimes. Like it's just with Joe Biden, we hear like, oh, we're getting the lesser of two evils and all that stuff. Like, first off, we just had to get the guy out of there. Like, what he was doing wasn't okay. Like, it's humanely not morally, any way you want to chalk it up, not okay. Like, I often ask, like, I don't know if Joe Biden's a racist, like, you know what I'm saying? But what I do know is he's at least willing to, like, work with people that's of my skin color, of my social class, and I'm willing to give that person a chance. Like, if it wasn't Biden, then what else were we gonna do? So that's just kind of, so I'm willing to give him a chance. I'm willing to see what these next 4 years will look like. And like I think Josh led the conversation off with, like, I'm happy, like, Kamala Harris is, like, a black vice president. Like, that's a cool thing to say. Like, yo, when we have a daughter, when she gets older or when she gets old enough to understand, we're like, yeah, there was a black vice president before. The first one name was Kamala Harris. Like, that's a cool thing to me. And I'm just excited for this next 4 years.
For sure, man. It was fun to watch Trump slowly bleed out. He's still bleeding because he won't give up. It is, it is. I've been loving it. It's wheezing to the end, wheezing to the finish line. Fellas, COVID is back. It's back in full bloom. Gina, guys, we're here in Rhode Island. Gina's locking us down, Zines and masks. Governor Baker's locking y'all down as well. How do you guys feel about these impending lockdowns? And are you for it? Are you against it? Do you think that they'll lock it down even tighter?
I think they're gonna have to, because it's the cases are getting worse. Like, no one likes a lockdown. Like, obviously you want to live your life the way you're accustomed to living. Like, if you a person that plays sports, I know you wish there was sports. I was just talking to my friends the other day. Like, I lost on so much side money from what I was doing previously because of all of the men's leagues I used to work. So that sucks. But ultimately, like, what happens? Like, you got to do something. And feel like at nighttime, like, you're more likely to follow social distancing rules, like during the day when you're at work, when you're at a grocery store, when you're going to do errands, because you're not going to go do that with 10 people. You're probably going to go with like 3 people max, if that. Whereas at night, when you're hanging out and you're partying, everybody's going to be clustered together. So I kind of get why she did like the 10 p.m. to 10:30, still giving businesses the opportunity to make money, but kind of just trying to say, all right, let's try to limit like these big clusters of people as much as possible.
Yeah, no, it's not a shock. It's not a surprise. We've been knew this. Everyone has been talking about this since it first came, that when winter comes or it's mixed with flu season and, these holiday, season, allergies come into play, whatever, during this time with the fall, that this was going to spike back up. So we kind of knew it. The issue is that leash was released a little bit over the summer. You know what I mean? It felt a little bit normal and a tad bit with masks, obviously, and still hand sanitizer everywhere, but it's going to be tough to reel us back in. And I think they know it. And this is why I felt like this could have been done next month, but I could feel that they're slowly trying to get ready for that winter season. And this is why they started so early in November. And I really think they're going to scale it back one more phase, almost like how we was in the beginning with this.
I think it kind of hurt them, that it kind of hurt the government, not the government, but I think Rhode Island, that it was 70, like it was nice weather this weekend. I think it was like, yeah, all right, it's the perfect time to do it. It's going to get cold. And then out of nowhere, nope, 70 degrees. So that's kind of like, damn, like,
So yeah, more.
Yo, I'm worried about like, I be thinking about, I'm like, damn, man, like a lot of people gonna lose their jobs, bars might have to shut down, restaurants might have to shut down, gyms and stuff like that. And it's just scary. It's like, damn, man, like people are gonna go back to being unemployed, out of work again, more so than they already were. Hopeful that, Biden coming in, like he named his board of like everyone, like all these scientists. He's like, yo, I'm not playing around with the coronavirus. Whereas Trump and the rest of his group was just trying to go on his business as usual. And I'm hopeful that we won't stay locked down all winter, but I don't know, man. We have like 126,000 cases. college football, they're shutting the games down left and right. LSU, Alabama might not play. They canceled the Auburn game. Like, and you guys have
Wisconsin.
like, yeah, like they're gonna just keep going, and it's just like there's just no stopping it. Like the NFL is doing a good job sports wise. We'll see what the NBA does when they come back to give us some entertainment or whatever. But it's not looking good in the winter, man. I'm nervous, and I'm nervous for a lot.
I'm nervous as well.
I'm nervous.
The only positivity I could think of is the simple fact that, you know, we got new shows. Law and Order's coming back for me. My Chicago series is coming back to me. We'll get NBA if they can figure it out in this short notice in regards to how's the traveling going to work. So we have some sports football still there. So as long as that, I think it helps. It doesn't solve it, but it helps if we got to close back down again, which is looking likely.
It's gonna be tough for NBA because they're not in that bubble no more. That's really what really saved it. So NFL's starting to do all right compared to how they started. But yeah, that's NBA is gonna be tough. Like there's no more bubble. You're traveling. You don't know what you're doing.
No, listen, these COVID cases for the NFL is picking up. Baker Mayfield, Brandon Ayuk missed a game.
Well, they said Baker then doesn't necessarily have it, but he came into contact with someone that did, so he got to get put on that list.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think that, like, even like watch. So I was waiting for Saturday Night Live to come on, and the Notre Dame game went to double overtime. So you have the best player in the country out because of COVID. Then you have the student section, and they rushed the field. I'm like, what are y'all doing? Like, what? Dude.
You hear what they said? They're saying that every student that was in that thing has to go get tested or they can't register for class.
Wow.
That Notre Dame.
That school should have been told them not to. I don't know if you can control that, but the school should have. But that's why I feel like you should have just. I get it, but that's why I feel like you should. If you were gonna do the sports, you should have just been like very strict on like nobody can be in at these games.
Yeah, they want that. They want that money.
I get it, but like it's gonna hurt you long term when you have to shut down. If you must have people there, just be like, all right, we're gonna do friends and family. Like every player gets 5 tickets or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you can't let thousands of people in. Like college kids. There's no way you're gonna be able to tell them. Half of them probably don't even believe COVID is real.
Nah, man. So yeah, man, COVID-19. I want to see. I'm interested to see how the new administration handles it, what they can enforce, what they can't, and just if there's a different attitude in the White House at the helm, if there will be a different, if the country will approach it differently, or if it's already too late because 45 already poisoned like the well, and anti-mask.
I just don't like. I wonder if they think Trump like really didn't get COVID, if Mark Meadows didn't get it, if like when people who are opposed or not think it's true, do you feel like your representation is lying to you that Mark Meadows, the chief of staff over there for your president, got it and 4 other aides? Like, so how do you not comprehend that's why like what Biden said, like, hey, listen, a mask is not a political statement. Like, stop making it something that is not. It's to protect you and your family. And the fact that there's some people out there gun-ho about, I'm not wearing a mask because
Zim, I think that a lot of it has to do with where you live, because a lot of the cases that are popping up in these rural areas. And so like, as like us three in this Zoom, we're used to being like, like we have to follow the rules or else we're going to get in trouble. Like people feel like, what I'm saying? If you are from a position, like if you have a different worldview, you don't view it like that. You're like, you can't tell me what to do. I'm American. You know what I'm saying? So that's how they view it. They don't like Sean, me, you, BP, like everyone we know for the most part masks up because we know this is just something you have to do. You have to make a little bit of a sacrifice. I have glasses. My glasses fog up every time I get out the car, every time I'm walking around the supermarket, every time I'm at work when I have to go in. So, but it's just something that you have to do because it's just, it's like a social contract. Like I understand that me wearing a mask could save a person that has pre-existing conditions or is old. It could save their life, literally.
But my thing is just, I just don't. I'll never understand. Like, all right, so we said when COVID happened, like when it first happened, it was a thing that like, all right, they're keeping us inside for a reason. They want to control us. And then we said, all right, COVID is going to magically disappear once the president gets elected. So here we are. So what's the reason now as to why like they would just say everything shut down and nobody go live your life, nobody go spend money, everybody try to stay home. I'll just never I just see some people that I know like personally like just get on social media and really go with this like craziness. Like I'm like, so all right, so if COVID is a scam, like what's the scam? Like what do they get out of keeping us home? You know, so we can't spend money. If you can't spend money, the country can't flourish. You know what I'm saying? If you can't go to work,
Right. It's like, do you really think millionaires want to lose millions? States want to lose millions? Like, do you like that's why I'd be like, wrap your head around it. Just take a educated guess on why they would just make this up. Who's benefiting what? Like, why would it's just I don't know, man.
like
Yeah, you
whatever
got
It's
state
just like
the
you
Super
come
Bowl was
across
going to
people
be
like
in,
that.
whatever state the Super Bowl was going to be in is heated. Whatever state the NBA All-Star game was going to be in this year is heated. Like they're not doing this because it's like they're trying to run a scam on us, or they think it's just like the flu. Like if it was just like the flu, we'd go live our regular lives. I've never seen the flu just contract or like so many people could get it at one time that quickly. You know what I'm saying? I never seen the flu really that much in the summertime. Like people get COVID in the summertime. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, you gotta understand, bro. We live in a stupid country. I hate to say it, and that's nothing to do with like you're not educated like formally, like you didn't go to college or you didn't finish high school. I'm talking about even people who have the education. We live in a stupid, stupid, stupid country. Yo, we talk about it all the time. I'll copy and paste a tweet and be like, yo, did y'all see this? Like, yo, send something to Facebook. And be like, yo, Jiggy, can you look at this dude? How do we teach him? You know, like, yo, like we live in a stupid place, bro.
You know what the issue is? It's social media, the land of conspiracies, theories, groups, Facebook groups. Like all these people, like, did you think of this? Because I thought of this. Like I'm telling you, I agree that we as a society we just become dumber and dumber because we leave thinking out and we look for others to validate our thoughts. And then all of a sudden, all these thoughts come together. And then now we got a conspiracy. We have a group. We have a hashtag. Like I'm telling you, what's happening is aligning with how social media and technology is getting greater as well.
Nah, I agree with you. Yo, there's that documentary on Netflix. I didn't watch it, but I saw the dude that made it. He was being interviewed on Bill Maher, like the social contract, the social construct. He said that conspiracy theory, right wing conspiracy theory, YouTube videos have over 15 billion impressions. Like that's what, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and he said that's more than Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter combined. Everything. 15 billion impressions of like that, like InfoWars, QAnon, all that stuff. So yo, like, and the thing is, like, in a normal society, like we'll be going out, we're going to work, we're hanging out with friends, we're going out to eat, we're chilling, we're gathering, we're at a cookout. You know what I'm saying? So we're talking to people. When you isolate people, they get a little soft in the brain. They start believing anything.
man, it's just I just don't get it. I never that one thing that's one thing I just like kind of like in March, like I always knew COVID was real, but I would kind of entertain like, oh yeah, I see why you would say that, but like in freaking November, you still saying this? Like, come on! Like I heard once the election's over, we're gonna be back to normal. We here, so what's up?
Yeah, we're not back to normal. We're not even close.
Not even close.
Got
We went
worse.
backwards.
And it's like that. It's like people want like the instant gratification. Like, so COVID happened March 13th, pretty much the whole country shut everything down. And people were like we was thinking like we was in a group that talking like, maybe mid-April, May, it'll start going back to normal. And then like, we was like, nah, we're not going back to normal for a long time. But people don't understand, like people will like read a history book and you read about like a polio or a Spanish flu or a plague or this or that disease. And it took them like 40 years to come up with a polio vaccine. Like people lived through that. Like people don't understand like how long like the Spanish flu killed 650,000 Americans in the early 1900s. So like that'd be like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 million people now with our current population. So people don't understand like and have that context. So we gotta be careful who we even engage in conversation, because we always hear Facebook.
Speaking of vaccines, what do you guys think about the one that Pfizer dropped and saying 90% effective? Are you guys willing to take it?
I feel like it's tough, man, because I feel like you're gonna be forced to take it because the key word in saying that it's like the MMR vaccine. Like if you want to play sports, if you want to go to school, if you want to go to work, I feel like you're gonna have to take it. So we're gonna see how it unfolds. Man, I hope they don't do nothing to harm us, but I feel like
I got somebody in this house that says my son ain't taking nothing.
And so are you that somebody or you blaming somebody else?
Huh?
Are you that somebody?
No.
You seen that episode of Law and Order when they didn't want to give their kids the vaccine and somebody ended up getting sick and dying and they got charged. Not saying that happened with your son, but a parent got charged with murder. So
because neglect.
That's the cool thing to say right now.
I seen that episode.
Yeah, that's the cool thing to say right now. Like I'm not taking it, or I would never let somebody take it. But when they say you got to, like but so much you could do.
Nah, Doc, you made a really good point. They use it to go back to work, go back to. It would be like a measles shot or the chicken pox, whatever.
Not for nothing, God forbid, like you don't take that vaccine and you get COVID and you go to school and let's say you're strong enough to fight it, but you pass it to someone that ends up dying from it. Like you don't think they're gonna. You can go. That parent's gonna get in trouble. You know?
Yeah.
You're not gonna just say, "Well, damn, they didn't take the vaccine."
And all that. Yeah.
All I know is that Pfizer stocks went crazy today.
Yeah.
Yo, I looked at I was like, "What happened?" And then people are texting me, explaining it to me. I'm like, "Oh, okay, I get it." It was a crazy day, man. And also I was speaking of the stock market. People are saying that like Wall Street is happy that Biden took over because they were saying that with Trump at the helm, COVID was never going to get under control. So we were always going to be in this like constant roller coaster of up, we're down, we're up, we're down. Whereas Biden, we might be down for 2 to 3 to 4 months, but he'll flatten the curve and we can start building back to some kind of normalcy. So I was actually interested to hear that. I thought that was interesting. So one thing I want to talk about that's, not a highlight, but kind of a low light, you know what I'm saying? The death of rapper King Von, a Chicago rapper that was murdered in Atlanta. The kid was 26 years old. He's behind 3 kids. Sad sight. So guys, you know more about it than I do. So what do you
see him?
Yeah, he's froze. His joint always do that at least one.
I'm back.
Yo, you froze for like 2 minutes.
Damn. So you guys are way more knowledgeable and informed about King Von and his music, and the situation that kind of led up to this. What are you guys' thoughts about this? And then, I'll chime in. I want to give you guys the floor to speak on it.
Chicago, like we look at him as a kid, say 20, that dude's a man, yo. He's been through more, like, because like sometimes when I'm bored, I just get on YouTube and like I'll watch like the history of like that whole like Chicago rappers and everything. And like everything them dudes is talking about for the most part is real. Like you see them, like I forget who did the documentary. It was like this this short film or whatever, and you see them from when they're like young, years before they actually kind of blew up, and the violence and the stuff that they're involved in is just like Dirk's pretty bad, but like Dirk's kind of like the one that was like kind of a little level headed, like, all right, I may do this, but I'm not gonna go that far. Whereas like King Von, before he got out, the reason before he was famous, like he beat a murder charge. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he came home, beat a murder charge, and became a rapper. But what does suck is, or the sad thing about it is, his death wasn't from like a specific beef he had with like his neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? It came from like an off-brand fight from like, something that happened in the club and transpired outside of the club. So that sucks. Like, you survived gang violence all these years, and now like, you've kind of made it somewhat where you could kind of make the decision if you want to remove yourself, or you don't always have to be in the midst of it, and then that's how you die. So that's just the tough part.
Guys, you guys remember when I sent the link of the Little Dirk Breakfast Club and he brought King Von on there?
He was
Like,
so raw. He
Yeah, I remember that.
couldn't talk. He was so institutionalized.
yeah,
That's why
that's
I
all I was
messed with
gonna
him. He
bring
was so.
up. Because I remember you mentioned that. He was like, yo, Zim. I'm like, what? He was like, yo, this guy is really like prison broken. Like, he can't.
Yeah, he was like, so it was like, the way he even answered, I was like, damn, like Dirk's a real dude for even bringing him on the air like that. But
right. So that's when he came into my radar. Then he was like, quiet for a little bit, still on probation. And then obviously my DJ, he puts me on all the music and then put me on to Crazy Story. And like, that's what people was playing at basketball games that he went to at Durfee. And then we got into it. So I'm just like that too. I watched those YouTube videos. Man, these Chicago dudes are different. It's really, the history of it with the whole Tuka and then that becoming a little rapper line about, smoke. I don't even want to say it, actually. That's how serious those Chicago dudes are. Then you got the GDs and the BDs over there. And, it just reminded me like growing up in Providence when Clowntown and Lockwood had beef and they're literally like a street that separates them. And they have beef like that. I used to go to Dewana's house and be like, nah, Dewana, the street lights are coming on. I'm out. I'm hopping on that bus and catching that 50 back home. But how he passed, and I'm a big component, unfortunately, the energy you give out is the energy you're going to get. And unfortunately, the dudes that he was fighting with was like another little rap crew, Quando Rondo's crew, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And the dude, rapper, Little Tim, was an affiliate of Quando Rondo, and Vaughn was tweeting that night, I'm not hiding, this is where I'm at, almost did like a drop location type situation. So this has been pending for a while, unfortunately. And I thought the dude, was talented. He had a skill set of just storytelling. I felt like he could have lived in that lane for a long time. And the fact that we know his stories are no cap, you know what I mean, is authenticity behind it. And, Dirk being one of the good street rappers, good co-signing. He had a lot of promise, man. But unfortunately, that's these Chicago, like when he goes, he is getting on 63rd in the Crazy Story and how they get on him about
yeah.
it's real deal type stuff.
Josh,
And
if you ever get a chance to listen to Crazy Story and Crazy Story Part 3, like the way he I think that's like two of his best songs he's ever, or Tell You What It's Like. Like in the video, Tell You What It's Like, the video is so real because he's talking about what it's like to fight a murder, then to be in jail and what happens. And during the video, they're like showing him in the courtroom, and the dude is stone cold. And you got to remember, this dude is 26. So when he's going through all of this, they're like kids. They're starting like 14 years old. That's when they're doing all of this. And it's like crazy to think like, yo, you live like this and you're 15 years old, and you just see him in the courtroom like fighting a murder case, and he's not even phased. Like, it's like, this is shit. This is happening. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dirk always talks about him. I forget one of Dirk's friends. In the documentary, they're like freshmen in high school. He's out. He's the rapper. Like, you know, you see them practicing every day. And the documentary lasts like, I would say 3-4 years. And then every year, kind of somebody dies. Somebody dies. Like Chief Keef and Dirk and dude Reese are kind of the only ones that really make it. You know what I'm saying? That they start off.
Yo, what's crazy is that whatchamacallit, this dude King Von is so like feared in the police force. This happened in Atlanta. Not even a couple hours later, the Chicago police is putting on like AK almost like their Lord and Savior, their kingpin just got killed in Atlanta. You guys going double cars. It's not safe out there.
At 26 years old.
Like that's how crazy it is.
Yeah.
That type of power King Von had. And unfortunately his life was ended too short. And watching that video, how graphic it was, how he got hit close range like that. Just the, people rap about scenarios and scenes like that. You know what I mean? We sped off, couple shots, he dropped like whatever the case may be.
And the thing is, he was fighting a murder too. He was fighting a murder, apparently.
Well, let me ask you guys this, right? So, you guys obviously know Harry Grigsby, John Holt. Me and him was he started like a Clubhouse room. I don't know if you guys know what Clubhouse is. It's like another social media app. So basically, he invites me into the room, and there's a lot of people in there talking about the situation, and they're talking about like, is the violence more prevalent now in the music? Actually, like, are the artists more violent with other people and and amongst themselves than it was like in the maybe in the 50 Cent era or the Tupac era or whatever?
I think
violent.
Yeah, I think now, and the reason why now is, when we hear like, the Cam'rons, the Jim Jones, the Jay-Z's, when they come on these podcasts and they tell these war stories and like how it has so much nostalgia around it because we have to hang on every single word because we're getting an account from them. Where now this social media and the camera, first of all, it's all about the ego aspect of it. They don't want to get punked. They don't want to be caught on camera getting snuffed. They don't want to, be the rich the kid, what's a slim guy, or 6ix9ine, or all these different incidents where they was in compromising position of them getting embarrassed. Like, look what happened with Reese in Chicago when he got jumped and all this, he shit his pants type thing. Like, these are the things that these dudes try to avoid so much, and they will go the extreme means to make sure that's not them, and it's turning into gang violence, it's turning into shooting, it's turning into backing up these lyrics and this image that I portray out there, and it has to be that way. And unfortunately, I feel like a lot of pressure during this time.
Doc, before you jump in, let me ask you this, right? So back in the days, if you wanted to be an artist, you wanted to be a known artist, you had to sign to a record label. They sign you, you go through artist development. There's like a certain amount of, maybe like months or like a year or two before you even come out, right? Kind of get you ready for what's about to happen, and they kind of like, hey, maybe stay away from this, stay away from that. They got people that paid to be around you to like make sure that you're not doing something crazy. I feel like the barrier to entry is completely gone. Like, you could upload a video to YouTube, and if people like it, like, you're a star. So I think that it's just like there's so many rappers. It's so like the landscape is so different. And because Dow brought this up, this is a good point. I don't even feel like gangster rap's not even really a big genre anymore.
There's
moving away from that.
It's not. So like, you could see like the hardest kids, the toughest kids, they don't want to even rap like that no more. They kind of want to rap like A Boogie. You know what I'm saying? So that's like kind of the wave that it's gone. But I definitely think it's tougher. It's harder now, I would say, because I just feel like back then there was like a certain code or like a certain moral that you like, stood by. Whereas like, for instance, certain things, like there was wild dudes, you know what I'm saying? But they know like, all right, respectfully, I'm not going to do this, or I'm not going to take it to this level in this place, or, you may have like a wild card here and there, but now I just feel like nobody cares about that. It's just like, I'm gonna do whatever. I'm gonna try to get on the camera. I'm gonna try to become popular. I'm gonna try to impress. And a few years from now, like like I'm gonna say Chicago's gonna have a big effect on, like, we're gonna talk about Chicago had a big effect on, like, how like the urban community viewed certain things. Like I remember when I was 20, how I was like 21 years old when I first started working for the Crusade. And like that's when kind of Chief Keef kind of was popping. I remember us having a meeting, the middle school team and for the Crusades, like, yo, Providence is changing. Like kids are just getting these dreads. They wanted to do everything Chicago. And I know New York got like that. Other places got like that, where it was just like, you got to live however a person from Chicago's, even the beefs that went on and unfortunately led to some murders, young murders in Providence. Like those diss tracks, if you go listen to them, they're like the drill kind of music, where I feel like now everybody's kind of trying to transition into the kind of be that A Boogie sound now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But now everybody's going to be a Pop Smoke kind of type too now.
Yo, how do you guys feel about, like, leading up to this, Academic was starting to like pump Vaughn. Like he was really starting to like really like start posting him a lot. That's how I came to know him, because I didn't know who he was. I know who he was until you guys started talking about him and Dirk couldn't be together for a while because of that attempted murder. I'm like, who the hell is King Von? So then Academics is pumping him. He's posting him. King Von, is he the realist? Does he need Jesus? This, and the third. And so I never paid attention to Academics during the whole War in Chirac thing. Like I felt like that just wasn't for me. But when Homeboy went crazy on him on the show of Vic Mensa, he kind of like said, "This is what you did." And Academics almost did the same thing, I feel like, with King Von. Even though, unfortunately, it seemed like this is the direction that it was going anyway because of how he was acting. But it just feels so nasty.
I feel like a lot of those dudes, like I feel like would also come out, like a lot of those dudes, you could kind of tell if you pay attention to Academics posts and who's commenting. I think those dudes kind of pay Academics to kind of get to that platform that they're getting. Because I felt like I do believe that whole 6ix9ine versus Chicago thing like was something set up behind the scenes. And I feel like Dirk may have paid to get Vaughn, like, promoted more. Like that's kind of his boy, that's his artist, saying, he wants to kind of see him shine. Because what does Academics get out of all the people that he could post? Like, why did he latch on to King Von that way? But in the other side of it, Josh, what I will say is that could kind of lead to like, something crazy. So like you're saying, all right, this dude's I'm gonna pay Academics to hype me up or put me in a certain situation that's gonna lead to something else that's gonna cause clout, is gonna cause more views. You never know how, like, whatever happened with him and Quando Rondo, they may be cool, but you don't know how like the person in King Von's camp's gonna react. You don't know how the person in Quando Rondo's camp's gonna react. So ultimately you get situations like that. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't control like a 15-person entourage. They're gonna be able to control all 15 people.
That's a great point. And me personally, obviously, I follow Academics. I find him to be, credible, and he's great at what he does. But then at the same time, to me, I feel like he ignites beefs. He adds to this culture of violence and vulgarity and coming at each other because I'll say something in the dot. Oh my God, Big Zim said something to Big Shiz, and Shiz is gonna respond to this. And then the next post, he'll put what Shiz said about me in it, in like in his captions, he words it as everything adversarial. Does that make sense what I'm
Oh,
saying?
it
I don't
does.
know if you guys notice this.
But I said that in the
Like that's what
beginning,
he
yo.
does, and this is why
First started
everybody
coming
always
out, man.
reference. This is why everybody always reference Nipsey's Hussle's take on Academics and how he's dangerous for the culture. The Nipsey called this in the beginning, and some people took like, oh my God, he's just a blogger trying to eat and whatever the case may be. But Nipsey called Academics' role in the culture is a huge one, but is it beneficial? And so this is used, I agree, Doc, behind the scene, I feel, I believe Dirk when he posted that someone tried to offer me $3 million to go back and forth for 6ix9ine. Like
And
that's
I think he took it. And I think he took some part of that because Dirk never comment on nothing before. And then all of a sudden now he comments on every, 6ix9ine post, or like, he'll be under like anytime they which academics promotes Vaughn or Dirk, and all of a sudden now academics a flip switch. It's like, Dirk the biggest up and coming artist coming out now. Is he the voice of the streets? Like, so you could tell something changed. But like, I said that to you guys early about academics when he was going on, when he kept posting that stupid Drake and Mo G, what was it called? Mo Bay G?
Oh, Mo Jizzle, whatever.
Yeah, the one he said
Drake he stole a dance. Like, you could tell like how the dude was posting. It's like, he's really instigating, and Meek wasn't lying, but Meek just says things at the wrong time in the wrong way, so nobody really takes it. But he's
right.
a dangerous dude, man.
Yeah.
Is it was he put Josh with the emojis when he wants to know if a song is
fire or shit emoji?
Yeah, like
W or L. Yo, W or L is fun. Yo, listen, W or L is funny because when I seen he
Don, can I get credit? I said that a long time ago. I said it about the shit in the fire.
Hold on, let me say this about this though. Like, a lot of people came at like Vibe magazine, The Source, and other like in other magazines, because they said that they used to do the same thing that academics is doing now. So basically, nobody's reading magazines. Everything is on social media. So they hyped up the East Coast, West Coast beef. So now Tupac feels like he got to throw a little more on it. Biggie and Diddy feel like they got to throw a little more on it. This guy. So then you got wild dudes around Diddy, you got wild dudes around Pac and Suge, and now you have a situation where it just blows up, like Dot was explaining. And so the reason why I think academics is even more, like, can be more dangerous is because, like, what people got to understand is that, like, you guys get mad at me. Like, I'll be looking at this stuff, like, these young guys, and I'm like, this is nonsense. I'm not even, like, dealing with this. But, like, kids, like, really feed into that. Like, and it's not, it's the kids from the urban environment, but it's also like these white kids that are so, like, when I worked at PCTA, these kids were so invested in neighborhood beefs in Chicago. And I'm like, why do y'all even care?
Bro, it's like watching the beginning of gangs and that. Like, I remember on BET, I don't know if y'all remember this documentary. I was like in middle school when they was doing Tukey Williams, the guy who made the Crips.
Yep.
Like, I was
American Gangster.
I was like, I gotta see this documentary on BET, man. I gotta learn about this. I gotta know why. You know what I'm saying? So music does influence you, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just, I don't know. It's just, but that, academics is like a suburban geekish Suge Knight, man. He just is like, you listen to so I heard them on the Breakfast Club, but there's this thing called like the Gangsta Podcast. You know what I'm talking about, Josh? You probably
the dudes that was running with Suge, the M.
Yeah, so hearing them on the Breakfast Club, I wanted to go listen to them on the podcast, and I wanted to listen to that episode specifically. And they really just go hammer. Pac is, no disrespect to the dead, but Pac is really the 96.9. Like like all them dudes around him was like shoddy and all, like, and they really said like, the reason why Pac died, like, he messed with somebody he shouldn't have messed with, like, you know what I'm saying? And he said, I don't even blame Pac, I blame them, I blame Suge, because why are you gonna let him, like, check a dude that got a certain status in the gang, and Pac, and they know Pac is not like that, you know what I'm saying? So that led to him dying. So it's just like he's just instigating. It's just, I don't know. Academics, I think it's gonna cause something crazy one day.
Yeah, and I think it's true too what you said, that maybe Dirk did take, because I'm sorry, 6ix9ine was quiet for, like, since his album came out 2 weeks out. He's been quiet. For him to write that comment, crying emoji, laughing, and then the one that he goes, damn, first it was Newski, now it's Vaughn, you need to stop rapping, go pick up a gun. Like, to me, that is ultimate disrespect.
Well, I'll say this,
I'm thinking you must have to be paid to
Nah, I don't think so, Zine, because academics, like he does his stream or whatever, and he said, yo, I just talked to 6ix9ine. I said, yo, like what you did is not, like, I'm not with it. And so like 6ix9ine
Oh, all right, good.
mad now for what he did.
No,
Now,
but why did academics take that? Why did academics take that and then repost it?
Now, did he repost
So
it?
you're saying why, that was wild, but
He
you
did?
take that comment
I
and
don't
repost it.
No, I don't think he made a post. I had to click the comments to see it. Usually,
Yeah, I had to click the comment.
I don't think he made a.
Let me go back and see.
Yeah, well, it's like, yo, and the thing is, too, man, is like, it's just like, so, we were talking about it, and I'm trying to figure out, like, yo, like, Sean made a really good point a while back in the chat when we were talking about music, and like, we know that what we're listening to is not good, it's not healthy, it's not okay, but we just grew up on it, so we're just so conditioned to it. And, like, at what point, you know what I'm saying? At what point does at what point, like, is like enough? Like,
But
I'm looking at the shade room and academics, and they're posting that what Asian Doll said his last words were. And I'm like, first of all, who's Asian Doll? Like, she sounds like ridiculous. Like, the manager, like, academics is interviewing King Von's manager, and maybe I'm just old or just older, but that's poison, bro.
No, but I respect the manager because I don't know if you got to listen because what the girl was saying was ridiculous. Like, and he says, yo, like, listen, like, nobody was there. And I have the text messages. You said that Vaughn said that you had a spiritual conversation with Vaughn. Like, come on, like, you can't put. So I get why you have that because it's tough. Like, he says it. You put something on Twitter or social media, everybody's who talks first. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of, and who knows, like, that O Block situation or wherever Vaughn is from, if they don't denounce it publicly, like, they got an issue on it. So I kind of do understand why the manager will go live and have that conversation. But I just feel like this generation, I don't want to sound like older than what I am, but it's just tough for this generation, man. Because I know growing up, like, there was some wild dudes in the business. But I just feel like when I open my Vibe magazine, I open my Source magazine, or if I listen to certain dudes talk, it's like, all right, they're rapping about this crazy stuff, but you're kind of actually learning how to be a man. You're actually learning how to dress a certain type of way, or like how to carry yourself a certain type of way. And that's what you want to follow. But I just feel like now, if you're not in a high school kid, for the most part, ain't gonna listen to Kendrick Lamar, ain't gonna listen to, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna listen to Drake because it's like, it's like a spin cycle
on the radio,
it's catchy. So, but now you start listening to Lil Pump, or you start seeing everything. And I didn't even know today they have a Shade Room Teens. Like, I didn't know that. Like, it's a more.
Yeah, they do actually. Yeah,
craziness they put on Shade Room. They have a teen version just specifically for teenagers. So
I didn't know that.
I'm sure there's kids that follow Little Pump. I'm sure there's kids that follow Trippie Redd. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, who's the artist now that's out that would help for that, like, age group? I'm not like 23 to 15-year-old age group that's gonna be like, all right, this, like, I remember when I was 15, like, yo, I wanted to be like follow what dress like Cameron. I wanted to hang on everything like, D Block was saying. And you know what I'm saying? Like, who's that artist now that's gonna
I think they're trying to push Corday to be that, in my opinion.
I don't even think he correlates because he doesn't come off as like the cool guy. He's nice, but he's like, you know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying who they view as this generation's Chance the Rapper kind.
But they don't want you got to be like real intellectual and a mature kid to like kind of even like want to be just being real to even want to be in a Corday or Chance.
Yo, you know who's starting to do it or trying to do it? I gotta give him credit, and I thought
don't say NLE Chopper.
I was. How you know?
That's even, he's another goofy. Like, what is he talking about?
But listen, but Dot, not for nothing.
I knew he was gonna say that, John.
See him trying to change his image, though, right?
Man, he just saying that because he wants to sell an album. He ain't changing nothing.
But Dot, you always bring that point of like, who's like, when we grew up, like, I mean, I'm older than you. Like, I grew up on like Nas, Jay-Z, Biggie, Tupac, like Wu-Tang Clan, Outkast, like. This is like elite level, like, you know what I'm saying, music.
Knowledge, yeah.
Yeah. So, but like, and like, you know, I like some of the new stuff that comes out. Like, you know, y'all be forcing me to listen to NBA Young Boy. He's not bad. Like, Dirk is cool, but it's like, I don't know. Like, I'm looking at it, and like when we was growing up, like, yo, like Diddy's album, like Little Kim's, the Fox, like it was just different.
Yeah, it's just even the videos you could learn from. You know, I just feel like now, like the music is good.
I got somebody.
Uh-oh.
Who?
Hear me out. Polo G. He could do it.
Yeah. He's got his head on straight. And Roddy
And he's from Chicago. And
Roddy
he was
Ricch is
about
good.
that street life.
Yeah, I think
I like Roddy Ricch.
And I think Lil Baby can take that step. You know what I'm saying? Where he can kind of like,
yeah.
But I don't know. I just don't see any like Jay-Z, Diddy's, or like any more Nas. I don't see that with like who would be that. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, they said Drake is the last hip hop superstar.
Yeah, I don't see anybody being like I don't see like the next Jay-Z ever coming again.
Yo, I think that, you know, it's funny enough, a guy we all know, but, you know, we haven't seen in a long time, Colomo, he used to say that Meek was the next Jay-Z. And I think I think that Meek might, like, when Meek first came out with that first mixtape and when he was all of that Maybach music, one album, I'm like, yo, this dude really is next up. He did some things that maybe, you know, kind of cost him, you know, and it really hurt his image. But like Meek is the last like street rapper that like raps.
Right.
And I get that. And Meek is nice. Azim, don't kill me for what I'm about to say. Meek is nice, but he's good at rapping and putting a story together of what he's like, you know, experienced or what's happening in his environment. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like he has it like a Jay-Z, like yo, remember a song like, for instance, Imaginary Players?
That was my joint. Yeah.
That's just so crazy, like how much knowledge he's given us, how much knowledge, like, you know, Nas, Jada, Meek he's making good songs, like he could rhyme, but he's not giving you that knowledge. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, listen, if the bar is Hove and what Nas did to the culture, no, Meek's not sniffing that, right? If that's the bar that was setting that. But despite his, like, he got tortured racked by Drake. But I felt, to me, he was on a great plateau. That happened, and I think his second go around has been successful despite getting swept in the finals 3 years in a row by Drake. Like wins and losses was successful. Championship, like I felt like the image was coming along. Like his second go around with Rock Nation and what they've been.
Can I ask you a question, Zine?
Prison reform. I felt like he is on his second lap to success.
Zine, do you think that Meek is scared of success? Like scared of like that ultimate success? Because I feel like he always does stuff to like sabotage himself. Because like I feel like, you know, like Nas is a street dude, Jay-Z's a street dude. A lot of these guys are street dudes, but they're like, all right, I'm in position. I'm gonna let people kind of help guide me. And I'm
right. You hit the nail on the head. You hit the nail on the head. Jay-Z. All right, so this is how I view it. You know, Meek Mill is from the Dame Dash cloth of will not understand that you do need to switch it up and, you know, have people help you, like you said, you know, help you make these right decisions, not just go off of impulse constantly. And this is what Jay-Z realized, like, listen, Dame, I love you to death. We made so much money together, but your impulses, your decision-making is not always, you sabotage us to a certain extent. And I agree. I do think Meek Mill, like his emotions, his ego, and sometimes not reading the room, like he hits these tweets almost like how Trump does in the middle of the night, just random thoughts, and it comes across very terrible, which sometimes when Meek tweets, I get what he's trying to say, but he just says it so dumb where I can see why people criticize him, but he means well. He just doesn't know well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Meek is like the last, like he's honestly like the last like street rapper that's like a star that raps and makes that street music and has that energy. Like, you really can't count Griselda. They're so outside the mainstream, and they're older than me. Like, so it's we're in like a weird space. So like I
But
don't.
then I don't know, like so Meek's probably like a tear ahead, like meaning age-wise. I feel like Little Baby's in that pocket, talking street, clothes, cars, women, where I don't think Meek is the last one. I really feel Little Baby lyrically has been on that era in which I made a statement, and I stand by it, to the high school generation. Little Baby is their Little Wayne.
Yeah, it got to be.
We view Little Wayne in this 4 to 5 year run. That's how these high school kids view. He doesn't have the numbers and the success wise of Little Wayne, but I just think the image of what Little Baby is doing right now, that's how they view him.
I just think he's a superstar. But go ahead.
After the Kendrick, Drakes, and J. Cole era, after those pass, I feel like it gotta be Lil Baby or Roddy Rich. That's gotta be like the.
Yep.
Where does Travis Scott fall in this?
He don't really.
Travis Scott, to me, and I mean this with respect, he is the Nelly of this generation.
Yeah, he don't really like rap. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not like
Yeah.
hot songs. Like, he makes like, he's always gonna be like a top selling artist, but he's not like I could see him like with a over again and like 2 years from now.
Right.
He's actually
he
like
gets it.
He's like rapping. You know what I'm saying? Well, Travis Scott, and I wish he would have stayed that route, because when he first came out, he was nice at it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he kind of like, I get it. You want to make money, or you want to rap. So
yeah. So let me ask you this. So what happened to the conversation? There's like dudes from like in that chat. There's women from, I forget what radio station she was. There's like big DJs from the West Coast on there. They said that. So one dude was saying that, like, you really can't even look at like a Drake, Kendrick, Cole, Travis, whoever. Like, they're so far removed from like what the NBA young boys is talking about, what Little Durk's talking about, what Little Baby's talking about. So that's who's influencing youth.
yeah, no, that probably is who was influencing youth. Like, I know, like, oh man, that's like, I don't want to sound like that old guy, man, but like, they don't know what they missed out on now's generation. You know what I'm saying? So we really have some like, talented people. Like, even the way like now, to make a music video, all you gotta do is just get the best looking women, the most expensive cars, a group of dudes, and chains. I remember like BT, I would be hyped for like making a video. Like, dudes from the street that never took an acting class a day in their life is making videos where they're like acting out scenes while at the same time still trying to like sing or rap their record. So it's just like totally. I don't want to say you got less talented, but you don't got to work as hard anymore. So you're gonna get
but it's like
quality.
It's like what Jiggy said earlier. Like, anybody, there's no gatekeeper. Anybody can come in now. Anybody has the means and the tools to make a beat, to get a video viral, and that's what a lot of these record label companies do now. They're just looking for the next sensation, get a quick fix. Where, like Jiggy, like you said before there used to be talent development. They put you in a camp. It was almost like a boot camp. You know what I'm saying? Before the a preseason games, at least you used to go on the road with other better artists so they could show you the ropes. Like, I always hear Joe Budden talk on his podcast about how he opened up for this person, opened up for that person. Like, there's none of that no more. These little quick guys will get a couple of thousand. They'll come be the headline at the Strand. You know what I'm saying?
Like, check
and
this.
That's how it works now.
Like State Property was a bunch of dudes from Philadelphia that, like, poorest areas in Philadelphia, probably for the most part, a lot didn't have schooling, in and out of jail, like, just trying to found Jay-Z, found Dame Dash, just trying to do whatever to get out of their current situations. them dudes made a very good product in a off-brand, like, low budget movie as far as state property, where
Yeah.
Eagle is
Yeah.
the main character. I can't name no
Yeah.
artist today that would ever even come close to making a movie like that. And
Right.
you know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like, I can't picture NBA YoungBoy go, or like, Master P movies. I got the hookup, and they're putting like all their artists in the movies. Like, I can't see that today.
Yeah,
Right.
like two things I want to ask you. Like, yo, like it's not even a guy like you be like, yo, like I want to look up to this dude and be like this dude and dress like this dude. Like it's weird. And then secondly, let me ask you this, right? So where does some responsibility fall on Cole, Kendrick, and Drake that they haven't developed the next the next big, like, yo, like, I mean, Drake, if he jumps on your record, we all know the famous line, it's the stimulus package. If Cole or Kendrick jumps on your record, you're gonna run up some streams. Not like a Drake, but like Busta Rhymes and Kendrick, like Busta Rhymes would never run without the Kendrick, you know what I'm saying, feature. But they haven't done their job in terms of developing the next artist, the next big artist. Like Jay-Z developed Kanye West, who developed Travis Scott and several other artists.
Yeah, no, I agree that there are a lot to blame, like, because how good are you if, like, you was able to put yourself in a situation, but you was never able to give anybody else that game. Like in the chat, I always with y'all, when something happens, I always like teach them. You know what I'm saying? So like you doing so well, like, you figured it out, but you couldn't give anybody else the blueprint on how to get. You know what I'm saying? You didn't help. Like we talk about with basketball. MJ told people, like, how to I'm gonna be a killer, how to carry yourself, how to go out and be a winner. Kobe took that in. You know what I'm saying? Now we have LeBron. LeBron is showing everyone, like, put yourself first as the athlete. Like, they don't care about you. Try to make as much money out of this game as you can. Somebody else is gonna learn that. You know what I'm saying? So we just haven't seen that from like the Drakes, the Kendricks, the J. Coles. I feel like J. Cole wanted to try to get into that lane when he kind of did that little interview with Lil Pump not too long ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard now, man. I feel like a lot of dudes don't want to hear that. Like when I was younger, when certain dudes had stories, like I wanted to hear those stories. I wanted to, like, I can remember certain, like I remember, there was this dude on my block, man. His name was Scooter. He had every Jordan, the way he wore his jabos, the way he wore his hat. Like anytime I would think of like an outfit, I'm like, yo, I want to wear like how he would wear it. You know what I'm saying? But it's just not like that no more.
Yeah, it's a different era. And I brought that up as one of my, because we had this conversation before about, Dot made these claims that Drake was going to be the next Jay-Z. And I was just like, nah. This guy brought out Kanye West and Rihanna, and I can't lie, Beyonce's always been Beyonce, but Crazy in Love type features brought it to another level. This power couple, and I always got on Drake that Division didn't pan out, P&D didn't really pan out. What's the other rapper? Preem or Rain or whatever.
PM Rain, something like that.
Yeah, him, like, he had artists under his wing that didn't really cash out. J. Cole tried, trying, it still is trying, with the JIDs of the world, the Bass of the world. For some reason, I look at it as the Michael Jordan effect, why he's not a great GM and owner. It's just like, you're so great, it's hard for you to find talent, or if you have this talent, it's like, you know what, I'll do it my way. And when you do it your way, it's such a success, and it's hard to break that cycle. So there is, Jay-Z was the last of his kind. You see all these little rappers trying to get their little crews together, Gunna with YSL. I mean, Young Thug with YSL, having Gunna under there, Little Keed under there, guys that resemble his sounds. So this is why when Russ speaks, I know it comes with hatred, but he has gems in what he says. And when he says the rap industry right now is all mini Drakes, Future, Young Thug, and it was one more. A Boogie. No, it wasn't A Boogie. It was somebody. I would have to look at it. But
speaking of A Boogie, I'm a little disappointed in him, Doc. I thought that he was the next New York City superstar.
So
Like,
I was just that's funny.
yeah.
I was just about to bring him up, but go ahead.
So I feel like, when he first came out, I was like, yo, like all the kids at my school was listening to it. I'm like, oh, this is all right. So I can mess with this. I used to tease you, like, I don't like that, but I was just pulling your chain, pause. So I'm like, but he, like, even when I went to Rolling Loud, he was like, he was a superstar, I thought, and it just hasn't connected.
I feel like a Boogie.
Sorry to cut you off, Zine.
He's one of the few artists to, like, I feel like he is trending in the right direction. Like, yo, every artist that comes for the most part sounds like him. Like, he's the first person aside from Drake that was kind of with his sound, was seeing it now. And I feel he came in. Where I think he messed up as, he had a following, like he had a crazy following before he signed that deal. And I think when he signed that deal, they kind of limited like what his talent was and like how he can use it. But he came in, he put a bunch of dudes on like Don Q, Trap Money Manny. So it's just, I don't know. I just think that signing that deal was what kind of did him in.
Let me ask you guys this question: Is Moneybagg Yo a star?
No, I think social media and this relationship makes him more popular than what he's nice though, but I think social media and Ari make him more popular than what he is.
Yeah, I agree with Dot 110%. You guys know, like, that's my guy right there. Like, he doesn't disappoint me in the content of his music. To me, I'm not saying he's a trendsetter, but he sets trends. You know what I'm saying? And I agree with Dot that his relationship brought him to another tier. I think he's marketing that correctly. I think he has a lane that he just wants to live in and excel at. He's not looking to be the next X, Y, and Z. He is comfortable staying right here, and not for nothing, we're going to view him like one of those longevity guys. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't suck, but he's not the greatest. He's just good. Money back. But that's a lane that some rappers can just live in for a long duration. And I think he got it. You know what I'm saying?
Got you. So this was a really good conversation, man. Yo, let's finish up with the NBA draft, NBA offseason. So the players voted were coming back December 22nd. The only person that seemed to really object was Jared Dudley, Danny Green, and LeBron James. For obvious reasons, they went deep into the playoffs and won it. This year's draft doesn't seem to have that can't miss stud. For like 2 or 3 years, I've been telling y'all about Wiseman when I seen him down the EYBL. He's not really connecting like that as the number one pick. Anthony Edwards he was clear cut number one. Now he's back down to number 3 or 4. Melo Ball saying he got the highest ceiling but lowest floor out of those guys. So, what do you guys think? Who should be the number one pick? And do you think that there's anybody that can really help a team, like to help turn a team around?
I think the best player is going to be Obi Toppin. I think he's going to be the best player. He's kind of like flew under the radar. We're not talking about him as much no more, but he's kind of just like, if you ever watch him play, he's like kind of just like cracking the shell of like his potential of knowing like, yo, I'm that dude, I'm a star. I think Wiseman, the reason why Wiseman kind of fell under the radar a little bit, like there's no, like the way the NBA is now, it's not like, have a 7-footer, throw him the ball and let him go to work. You gotta be able to shoot, you gotta be able to like dribble a little bit, play on the perimeter, and I don't know if he's able to do that. And Edwards, like, I don't know, like I feel like Edwards' personality and like who he is gonna turn off like white executives. But I think when it's all said and done and he actually gets to play, I think he'll be really good. And Melo, that's my biggest question mark. Like with Melo Ball, man, I think this dude I know who played overseas, he kind of always talks about LaMelo Ball, and he keeps preaching like, yo, LaMelo Ball is not good. It's hype, and he's a ticket seller. That's why he's going to get drafted number 1. And he gives all the reasons why. And he's like, yo, if a dude ever averaged or played how he played overseas, like they would never, like he would have been home like the next week. It's because of like the fact of he can bring people to the game. There's a buzz around his name, and he thinks he's gonna flop. So I don't know. I've never seen LaMelo play outside of high school where he won every game by like 50 points. So I'm interested to see what he does in the NBA.
I agree with your sneaky pick of Obi Toppin. I think this is what I think of Obi Toppin. I think he is the most NBA ready right now. But I don't see him being a game changer. He's just going to be a solid player, longevity NBA career. When I see Wiseman, obviously, he put up good numbers in those couple of games at Memphis when he did play and they won, whatever. He's just a little bit too stiff for me. He reminds me of a DeAndre Ayton, kind of. You know what I mean? And DeAndre Ayton, to me, is playing well. You know what I mean? But he's not a superstar game changer. I think the highest of just potential, you have to say it's Edwards. You know what I mean? Like he has the physique, he has the handle. His jumper is inconsistent, but we all know, they said the same thing about Donovan Mitchell before he came in. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like he's a juiced up Donovan Mitchell. And if he gets that style of game, he's going to be successful. I have huge confidence in LaMelo Ball, man. And I know, I be listening to these analysts and they gas me with the video and the boards and they slow it about a 6'8", 6'9" point guard. Shooter, questions about his shooting touch, but he's not afraid to shoot it, can handle, can run a offense. I'm not saying let's see him do an NBA offense, but ran offenses and shine and excel. And there's a reason why he's around the number one pick talk. It's something there. And yes, he can fill in seats, so that's an added bonus. He brings things that these low-market teams have to factor in and being a lottery pick to help on the court, but also help off the court as well. And the Ball family does that. That's something you can't deny or take away from them.
Yo, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, but you frozen.
Yeah, we can hear you, but you're frozen, though. With a mean mug. God, look at his mug.
Okay, I'm back. So I'll say this. So I think that a lot of the success of a player is dictated by their situation. Where do you go? Where do you get drafted? Who's there? Who's the GM? But I think that this is going to be even more so. So I think that for me, if I'm going after LaMelo Ball, the reason why I'm going after Melo Ball is I like the way he moves. He reminds me of a 6'9" Mike Bibby. That's the vibe that I kind of get from him. And y'all know I've been like, even when he was in 8th, 9th grade, I'm like, yo, this dude's lottery pick. Like I didn't think first round. I mean first pick. But I thought like, because the dude is just so skilled and has a good feel. Now, if Anthony Edwards was going to a team like the Spurs or something like that, I'd be like, all right, cool. Like, he's, like OKC or something like that, someone that knows how to properly develop basketball players, I would feel really good about that pick. And then Wiseman, if Wiseman goes to maybe the Warriors, that'll be a good fit because he can just rim run and defend. But yeah, man, I think that like the LaMelo Ball thing is going to be so interesting because honestly, I feel that a lot of analysts are picking him to go high because they just don't want to be wrong. Like there's like this thing like with like the Ball family, like you don't want to pick against them because you have to hear his dad. You have to hear their like group of fans like, oh, we told you LaMelo Ball was going to be a beast. But I like Ball. I don't think anyone's a franchise player in this draft. Not even close.
And that's all right. You have drafts like that. Not everyone, I can't think of every single draft that we can name all these franchise players in every single year. We can name all-stars, you know what I mean, all NBA players, but there's only a select a few. Curry, KD, LeBron James, maybe James Harden, like that comes every couple of, years, every 3 years. Yo, Dot, so I heard this. I wanted to get your opinion, what you think about this.
Uh-oh.
It was rumor mill saying that What's this guy's name from the Atlanta Hawks? Their power, John Collins. Is it John Collins?
Yep, yep.
Collins to the Warriors. The Hawks get the number 2 pick, and you guys get the number 6 pick. Would you do it?
I feel like it could only. Damn, like I don't like.
Hell no.
I don't like John
Collins? You don't like Collins?
Not to win. We about chips over here, not just to win.
I seen that. I was like, I'm gonna bring it on the podcast.
The only way I would do that
listen.
is if the number 6 pick was a guaranteed like a Jokic type or like a Donovan Mitchell, like we know is like he's a star and everybody's sleeping on him and we want him. That's the only way. But I couldn't see why we would ever want John Collins. Like, what is he gonna do for us?
Yo, I heard that.
Listen, remember,
and the kid from Israel. So you could
They've been saying a lot about this kid from Israel, but like the last few Europeans that have come over, or like foreign players, I should say, they panned out, but then they hit or miss sometimes too, man.
I mean, if the Warriors do this correctly, they have Minnesota's pick this year and next year. And they have
next year's draft. I'm excited.
Yeah. So I think that the Warriors as an organization, bro, like this is their chance. Like you don't usually get this chance. Usually when your studs are old, it's over. But they have a chance that the Boston Celtics had when their guys got old, where they were able to replenish with that trade. And you don't have to get rid of your guys to, you know what I'm saying, to like have this trade. So the Warriors have a chance to, if they hit on these back-to-back picks, like, where they can transition to the next generation.
I'm excited I'm happy basketball's back. I know a lot of, the bubble play is not enough time, whatever the case may be, but a lot of money implications. I'm not going to say get on the court, shut up and dribble, but I hope they, I think I'm being selfish and personal reasons. I just want to see ball again. I want basketball fantasy weekly, joints to come back again. Like I'm with the shits, man. And sports, like I said, during these COVID times is the only thing that's been keeping me sane and in the house, not like, oh my God, what's to watch on Netflix? Like, you know what I mean? So I'm excited for it. I hope it does start December 22nd. I heard a lot of discretions about, travel, flights, protocol, arenas, different states, phasing back. But I hope it comes back. I hope they're safe, and I hope they can keep it under control.
Absolutely, man. Lakers going back to back, baby. Sorry, Doc.
Not if my Warriors make the right moves, man.
Sorry, Doc. Fellas, this was a great podcast, man. We back. Hopefully, we'll have more in store, some special surprises next week. But yeah. Yeah, man. I gotta get back to doing some of this homework, man. I'll see y'all next time.
Peace, brother.
America, we out, man. Peace. God bless America.
Hey, I'm trying to I'm trying to redo the Craigslist thing now. Redo the thing. Redo the ad. I just published. Let's see what happens. Mad people hit me already. Hold on.